I am Dr. Suman Kumar. I'm a consultant pediatrician and also director of Siddhartha Public School, Bodupur. Our vision of this school is to provide holistic education for every child and ensure that there's an equity in education. That is to ensure that every child gets equal education, irrespective of whatever background they come from, irrespective of whatever credentials they have got, whatever talents they have got. So this is something which our school believes in. And we have a mission to ensure that every child develops as a creative thinker, independent person with globalized mindset and becomes an achiever at the end of the day in whatever field he or she selects. See, I was associated with the Swami and team for the last 1 year. I have been going through what they are actually doing across various schools and what kind of work they are doing as far as assessment is concerned. I always believe that manual assessment is a challenge. The two challenges in manual assessment, first thing is it takes a lot of time for a teacher to set a question paper and to ensure that every child is equally challenged. No matter he might be a high performer, he might be a low performer, see that every child is equally challenged. And second part of that is, again, during the correction, there should not be any bias. The correction should be done on time and ensure that every aspect is looked into. And the last and the most important aspect is, once the correction is done, every child should be having enough data or analysis. The teacher should have an analytic data of what has went right or wrong as far as the conceptual teaching is concerned, where they can correct it, and also students to know where are their strengths, where are their weaknesses, how they can work on it, what is it, the problem. So I call it as a gap analysis. So these all things take a lot of time, and most of the times by the time the exams are conducted, by the time the correction is done, by the time the child receives their assessment sheet, the time has already passed, the child has moved on and the teachers have moved on into a different topic. So that's where the challenges comes. We cannot go back and correct it all over again. So this is where a lot of gaps keeps coming in and child never realizes it and he goes through it for the rest of his life. And so that's what I thought, when I looked into what Swami and his team in DeepGrade is doing it, I felt that this is going to fill that gap and allow us to do gap analysis quite fast. See, new technologies, no matter whichever organization it is always a challenge, because there is a fixed mindset and a comfort zone for any organization or the teaching team or any people who are working around it. They don't want to change it. So whenever we introduce any new technology for benefit of many people, adapting to it is one challenge, accepting it is another challenge, and then persisting with it is a different challenge altogether. So it is a continuous process, and I believe with all the cooperation which I'm getting from the DeepGrade team and also my team which is out here, we could easily overcome these challenges. See, frankly speaking, if you look into a class of 30 to 40 students, for a teacher to analyze what is the strengths and weaknesses of those class, what are the requirements of that class, whether what they have taught with great difficulty is reaching every corner of the class in an appropriate way, is the concept well taught, is it understood, is application going on, are the students in a position to do an application, are they in a position to do the logical reasoning and thinking about it. This all is essential whenever we go around with pedagogy or the teaching cycle, whenever we push it across any topic or any concept. But because everything is done in manual method for the last many decades, there is a gap for the teacher to understand what exactly the students lacks in, where should the teacher intervene, and where the student themselves also lack, where exactly they lack in and where they're supposed to work on. I believe artificial intelligence is going to fill that gap in real time. So it's not only about knowing what are the gaps present as far as a concept, application, logical reasoning, analysis is concerned. It also does it in real quick time, so that in real time you can always get back. You're teaching a concept and you conduct an assessment on those concepts, and then you see that in real time within 24 to 48 hours you have got a detailed analysis on individual thing, whether that student is struggling with concept, whether the student is struggling with application, whether the student is struggling with logical reasoning, whether the student is struggling with the time management. What is that the student is struggling in? If the student, the teachers, the management, everybody knows it, we can always go back and rework on it and see that those gaps are filled quite efficiently. In return, it gives the confidence to the teachers, it gives the confidence to the students, it allows them to fill their gaps and improve their efficiency and results at the end of the day. And if it is, this all it is happening in an automated way without depending too much on human beings, where there can be a bias. Whenever, whenever teachers are involved in correction, there can be a bias, there can be a cover-up, there can be a human error, and there is nobody to actually analyze and tell us where the gaps are. I think there is no system right now manually to analyze exactly where the gaps are. And students also, because you get an immediate analysis where they are lacking in, they can work on those things rather than working on things which they are actually good at. I think these are the things which I am looking towards as far as DeepGrade is concerned, to make assessment more useful, more meaningful, and to see that it fills all the gap as far as the learning is concerned. So I'll start off with what is the workload of teachers in our organization prior to onset of AI and integration. See, the teachers have to do a lot of job right from morning attendance onwards, and trying to see whether the child is understanding the concept, because they have to follow the pedagogy and the teacher's plan, whatever they have, teaching learning materials. They have to ensure that the concept is properly taught. They have to ensure that all TLMs or teaching learning materials are properly utilized, and they have to do instant assessments, class end assessments, and whenever the fresh class starts, again rewind the concepts all over again, and try to see that assessment is done on a daily basis, individual basis, on a weekly basis, then again on a monthly basis and a quarterly basis. Not only doing that, they also have to record everything, whatever they're done, in whatever format the school demands. There's so much of documentation, because as a good school, we wanted to ensure that every student is being benefited on a daily basis as far as education system or value integrations are concerned. So to make them better citizens for tomorrow. But the problem happens in the process is so much of workload is happening. The main criteria, the main talent of the teacher is to facilitate the concepts in a really efficient way. What happens, because of so much of workload on documentation and proofs and all these things, this area gets compromised somewhere or the other way, manually. It is human for everybody. If an artificial intelligence system takes over things like, daily routine documentary systems like attendance, takes care of assessment of the child in an individual way, challenging the child in an individual way, trying to make the teacher understand how much every child has understood by prompting right questions, sending across right questions to the team on a regular basis, and that real time the teacher understands where exactly is the class lacking in, knowing the strengths and weakness of the class, and then trying to understand and correct it. I believe if we can assist the teacher in every possible way, so that her focus would be only on teaching and facilitation, which will bring out the best about her and also will make the classroom more meaningful. And that's what we expect artificial intelligence going forward to do. It should become an enabler for the teacher. It should become a positive coordination. It's not like a negative destruction type. It should be like a positive coordination where the routine work, the repetitive work is taken care by it, and the teacher focuses on what the teachers are actually good at. And that is something which I look forward as far as artificial intelligence and integration into education system is concerned going forward.
Hello, I'm Vineshri, principal of the school. Actually, I'm from Kerala. I'm very much happy to be here as the principal because this school gives more importance to the values, and it's completely a value-based environment school, and it's a very safe and secure, and we love our children so much.